I know of at least 2 reasons why the government would rather give us soft disclosure, even though most of us like it kind of rough. It's mainly because of 2 events. And one of them is the H.G. Wells broadcast that happened in 1938, the War of the Worlds one, where it caused severe mass panic and people freaked plumb out. Yeah, well, whenever the Roswell incident happened, apparently everybody was like, well, hold up now. I know we just sent out an official statement that said, hey, this is what happened, but we need to retract that because if it gets out too far, it's going to turn into this situation and we're going to have mass panic everywhere. The problem with the whole H.G. Wells thing is while it did cause some panic, there was a little bit of a issue between the newspapers and the radio. See, the radio at the time was taking away sponsorships and advertisement from the newspaper, and the newspaper was like, let's blow this plumb out of proportion so that we can show everybody how irresponsible the radio is. But it was because of their greedy little pockets that they blew it so far out of proportions. However, things did happen, but they were reported way worse than they actually were. But the official statement stuck that it was causing mass panic and everything else. So the military was like, you know what? We can't release information like this out. Retract it, pull it back. We cannot have this type of a situation. Now, the fear kind of simmered down there for a couple decades until we got into space exploration. It was at that point that the government was like, you know what? We need to commission some studies to find out what would happen if we discovered intelligent extraterrestrial life. And that brought in the Brookings Report. Now, this report pretty much stated, hey, if we brought this in, people who were so sure of their place on this world with their religions and their beliefs would be completely and utterly crushed if extraterrestrial life showed up on the radar. So at that point in time in 1960, you had very little ways of getting information, and it was very easily controlled because you didn't have widespread information. You could do it through something like through communicating with somebody by phone, but it's kind of hard to spread that information unless you had a big major public appearance, and even then it was very hard to do because the information would change person to person. Now, the other 3 ways was radio, newspapers, and TV. But everybody didn't subscribe to like the New York Times and stuff like that. It was mostly local papers. So unless the news wanted to tell you about it, you wasn't going to hear about it. Then there was TV, and that was kind of a rarity anyways. It wasn't like it is now. Then you had radio. Now, radio broadcasts could work, but there wasn't as many radio broadcasters. There was a lot of them, but not nearly like you can get your information now. So that leads us up to now. Why would they even want to start disclosure? Like I said, they're doing soft disclosure now, but why would they even want to start it now? Well, media is extremely hard to control right now. Just like me, just being a random human being and you seeing this, if I had some sort of truth to tell you right now, you could hear it. You could also take this clip and share it to somebody. This isn't one of those, but you could take the clip, share it to somebody, that person could share it, and that video could blow up. Not only that, but people can save clips. So if somebody saves it, they can share it across other platforms. It's very hard to get your iron fist around the media. You just can't do it. And this is why things like legacy media and stuff like that are kind of failing, because people are getting their information through this channel, another channel. It doesn't really matter. There's a lot of different platforms to get your information from. So it's kind of at the point that you'll see that the government is stumbling over a lot of different things. Just like whenever the FAA said, oh, it's news to us that we authorize things in the sky, and then the White House said, oh, no, you did, and then the White House is telling the Coast Guard different things, and the Coast Guard's like, you're full of it. Well, it got to the point where they can't even get their story straight because they have to be more organized with this. And like I said, data flow is so fast now, they don't have time to sit down and gather all the details, come out with a story or one way to misdirect or something like that. So they're kind of putting the information out there because they don't really have a choice. Now, like I said, I don't really want soft disclosure. It's very obvious that there is things in the sky that are not just regular things. People can try to dismiss it all they want, but there's just too many videos out there. It seems there is way more UFO sightings, and it's a lot easier to see now. And I've seen so many now that look, I mean, it's just there. People are looking in the sky, they're sharing what they see. And these channels aren't just about making stuff up. It's just out there. The information's out there. There's a lot of videos, and I think it's just getting to the point where they're like, we can't do nothing with this, so just tell them something. Tell them something because it's happening, and I don't know what's happening, but people are mad about it, and just put the information out there. So I'm not saying it's aliens, but it's probably aliens out there, and they're going to start telling us some information about it. But anyways, I went down the rabbit hole for y'all, and I thought it was pretty interesting. That's a couple reasons. If you know of any other reasons that they might not want to disclose, please leave it down. Tell me about it. I'm interested in it. It's a fun discussion. Or if you've seen anything creepy or paranormal, tell me about it. I love hearing about it. Anyways, I thought it was interesting, and I figured you all would too. And I hope you all have a great day. Bye.